Welcome to the series of lecture on finite element analysis. In this part, we are going to solve one example problem in beam. For solving the beam problem, we are using one-dimensional line element only, but the difference is we are using 2 degrees of freedom at each node, because for complete definition of a beam, we need a minimum of 2 degrees of freedom, W and theta, where W is displacement, theta is the slope of this beam. So the total degree of freedom for any beam element is going to be 4. So at each node we have 2 degree of freedom. Since the total degree of freedom is 4, the element stiffness matrix for this beam problem going to be a 4 by 4 matrix. So this is the element characteristic equation we derived in the earlier part. The general element characteristic equation is K stiffness matrix, U is displacement matrix or displacement vector, F is force matrix or force vector. Here the stiffness matrix size is 4 by 4. E Young's modulus, I is the moment of inertia of the area of cross section, L is the element length. These are the square and symmetrical matrix. Degrees of freedom are given here as a nodal parameter, and here F0 is load intensity of UDL, and this part is external force and moment, we can say boundary terms. So now with this element characteristic equation we are able to solve any type of beam problem. So we will take up one example in this part. This is the example problem we are going to consider. For the beam shown in figure, compute the slope at hinged support points. Take E, Young's modulus E is 200 gigapascal and the moment of inertia is equal to 4 into 10 power minus 6 meter power 4. So here the unit is meter and here Newton per meter square. And if you see the given beam, it is a left end is fixed end. There are two roller supports. So this is a propped cantilever beam, and in this beam, for the first part 4 meter length, the UDL is acting uniformly distributed load of 20 kilonewton per meter load intensity, and for the second part we have load intensity of 10 kilonewton meter acting for the length 5 meter. So in this case, fixed end we have displacement 0, slope 0. In this support, displacement 0, so we will get only slope. In this support also displacement 0, we will get a slope. That is why in the question they are asking compute slope at hinged support points. So if you want to solve this problem using finite element method, first we have to make finite element model. So in the finite element model, we have to follow the thumb rule. So we have to use the thumb rule. What is the thumb rule here? Whenever there is a change in cross section, change in material property, we have to introduce a node. But in this beam, there is no change in cross section, no change in material property. So then the third one is the boundary points, we have to introduce a node. Here the left end is fixed end, so we have to introduce a node for this fixed support. And here we have a roller support. For this roller support we have to introduce node, so node 2 and node 3. Load acting point, we have to introduce a node. But for this beam, for the first part, uniformly distributed load is acting, so no change in load intensity. So we need not to use any node in between the fixed end to roller support. Similarly, from this roller support to this support, again the load intensity is uniform, so we need not to introduce any node. So to solve this problem, we can use the two element model. Suppose if you want to find the displacement at this particular point, if they ask, then we have to introduce a node at this particular point. In that case, it will go 3 element model, so we cannot solve it manually. We are going to solve this beam problem with the 2 element model. What are the boundary conditions for this? At node 1, we have W1 equal to 0, theta 1 0 because fixed end. At node 2, W2 0 because roller support, but theta 2 will be there. We have to find out the unknown slope. And node 3 again a support end, we have W30, so we have theta 3 unknown slope, we have to find it out. At each node we have the forces R1 M1, reaction force and reaction moment. Here reaction force and the moment, here also reaction force and the moment we have to consider. Now we have to form element characteristic equation for element 1 and 2. Then we have to assemble this equation to form the global characteristic equation. The element characteristic equation, this is the first element, node 1 with a degree of freedom W1 theta 1, node 2 with a degree of freedom W2 theta 2, and reaction force and the moment. First we are finding the EI by L cube value. E 200 gigapascal, I is given as 4 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter power 4. So we are substituting as it is, and the length of the beam is 4 meter. So this will give 12.5 10 into 10 power 3 Newton per meter. That value is substituted here, EI by L1 cube, and here it is 12, and L1 value is substituted inside the matrix. We are getting 12, 24, minus 12, 24, like that. And these are the displacement vector. And here the UDL is given. For first element, the intensity is 20 kilonewton. So 20 into 10 power 3, the length of the element is 4 divided by 2. F naught L by 2. And 1 L by 6, L is 4, then 1 L by 6. These boundary terms R1 M1. Here R2 by 2 0. So why R2 by 2? Because the node 2 is a common node between element 1 and element 2. That is why the reaction force at node 2 is divided by 2 here. Similarly, when we write the second element characteristic equation, this reaction R2 will be R2 by 2, like that we will write it here. Because it is a roller support, no reaction moment will be there. That is why we are putting 0 here. So R2 by 2 0. So when you simplify this matrix, we are keeping the 10 power 3 common, and we are multiplying this 12.5 inside this matrix. So we are getting 150 300 minus 150 300, like this. And in the right hand side we are substituting this value, that is 20 into 10 power 3 into 4 divided by 2, it is coming out 40 into 10 power 3. So that is why it is 40 into 10 power 3, and this is L by 6 value, and R1 M1 R2 by 2 0. So this is the element characteristic equation for the first element. Similarly, we have to find the element characteristic equation for this second element. Here this second element, node 2 and node 3. Degrees of freedom W2 theta 2, W3 theta 3 for node 3. R2 M2, R3 M3 are the forces and moment. We are finding EI by L2 cube. Here L2 length of the element is 5. So substituting E value and I value, we are getting 6.4 into 10 power 3 Newton per meter. So we are substituting here. Then 12. Then all the L2 value is substituted here. Nodal parameter W2 theta 2, W3 theta 3. Here load intensity F naught is 10 kilonewton per meter. So 10 into 10 power 3 into L. L is 5 divided by 2. 1. Here 5 by 6, 1 5 by 6. Here R2 by 2, because the reaction force is shared by element 1 and 2, because the common node R2 by 2. So no reaction moment because it is a roller support. And third one is also roller support. We are getting R3 and 0. Now keep this 10 power 3 common outside the matrix. Multiply the 6.4 inside the matrix. So we will get 10 power 3 76.8 192 minus 76.8, like this. In the right hand side we are getting 25 into 10 power 3 20,833.33, all this value. And R2 by 2 0, R3 0. This is the second element characteristic equation. After knowing the element characteristic equation for this two element, we have to form the global characteristic equation. To form the global characteristic equation, we are using this numbering system. 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the numbers used for each degree of freedom. Here 1 and 2 for node 1, 3 and 4 for node 2. That is W1 theta 1 degree of freedom for node 1, W2 theta 2 is for node 2. When you take this second equation, here also we have W2 theta 2, so there we are using 3, 4 and 5, 6. So the common notation used for common degree of freedom. So using this number, we can easily assemble these two matrices. The global stiffness matrix size will be 6 by 6 matrix. To form that 6 by 6 matrix, we can use this numbering scheme. So the elements of the matrix for common degree of freedom W2 theta 2. So these and these will be added carefully to form the global stiffness matrix. Similarly, we have to write the right hand side value. So here these forces and these forces should be added for the common node. So we have to add these two element characteristic equation carefully, then form the global characteristic equation. It is a 6 by 6 matrix. So this is the 6 by 6 matrix. The 6 by 6 matrix is formed by using this number. So these are the common degree of freedom. We are adding this element, and similarly we are adding the forces also for common degree of freedom. So after knowing this global characteristic equation, we have to apply the boundary condition to solve this problem. What are the boundary condition for this problem? Node 1 is fixed end. So W10 theta 10. So we can eliminate row 1 column 1, row 2 column. So W10, so corresponding row 1 and column 1 we can eliminate. Theta 10, so row 2 column 2 we can eliminate. Then node 2 we have roller support. So displacement 0. So displacement row 3 column 3, W2 0. So we can eliminate row 3 column 3. At node 3 again roller support W3 0. So we can eliminate row 5 column 5. W3. So this is row 5 column 5. So remaining is this 2 by 2 matrix with theta 2, theta 3 and these values. So solving this 2 by 2 matrix, we can easily get the unknown slope value theta 2 and theta 3. So in the next step, we are going to solve the 2 by 2 matrix. So 10 power 3, the common term. So 1440, 320, 320, 640, theta 2, theta 3. These are the right hand side. 47500, 20833.33. So we can solve these two equations using the calculator easily. So we'll get the theta 2 value and theta 3 value in terms of radians. So 28.97 into 10 power minus 3 radian, 18.1 into 10 power minus 3 radian theta 3. So now these are the slope at the roller support points. Now we can verify this value by finding the reaction forces at the support. Let us see evaluation of the reaction forces. To evaluate the reaction force, again we need the global characteristic equation. So here we are going to evaluate the reaction at 3 supports. That is reaction at fixed end, reaction at the roller support, R1, R2, R3. Then when add this R1, R2 and R3, it will be equal to the external load acting on the beam. So to find that, in the global characteristic equation, if you want to find the R1, we have to consider the first row, then multiply with these degrees of freedom, you will get the R1. So now here W10, theta 10, W2 0, W3 0. So we have to multiply with theta 2 and theta 3. The corresponding elements are 300, multiply with theta 2. Here it will be 0. So 300 theta 2 will be equal to reaction force. So in this case, in the first row, W1 0, theta 1 0, W2 0, W3 0. So we will get only 300. 300 multiplied with theta 2 will be equal to 40 into 10 power 3 plus R1. That is the equation. Here 300 into 10 power 3 theta 2, 40 into 10 power 3 plus R1. Substitute the theta 2 value and take this 40 into 10 power 3 other side. Finally, we are getting the R1 value as minus 31,309 Newton. This minus direction indicates the assumed direction is wrong, so it is acting opposite direction like that. Similarly, when you find the reaction at a roller support node 2, so you have to consider this third row and we have to multiply with this nodal degree of freedom. It will be equal to this. Now in the third row we will get minus 108 theta 2, then 192 theta 3 is equal to 65 into 10 power 3 plus R2. So this is minus 102 into theta 2 plus 192 theta 3 is equal to 65 10 power 3 R2. Substitute the theta 2 value and theta 3 value, and we calculate the R2 value. It is minus 61,869.56 Newton. Again we are getting negative sign, that means this is also acting opposite to the assumed direction. Initially we assumed all the reaction force as the positive one, so now it is acting opposite to the assumed direction. Similarly, if you want to find the reaction at a roller support at node 3, the R3, we have to consider the fifth row in the global characteristic equation. The fifth row, this is the fifth row, so we have to multiply the minus 192 with the theta 2 and the minus 192 for the theta 3. We will get 25 into 10 power 3 plus R3. This is minus 192 theta 2 minus 192 theta 3 is equal to this one. So now by substituting theta 2 and theta 3, we are getting R3 value is minus 36,821.44 Newton. Now after evaluating R1, R2, R3, let us check the solution. These are the R1, R2, R3 value. When you add these three forces, sum of the reaction forces is coming exactly minus 130 kilonewton. So the external load acting is also 130 kilonewton. How? In this given beam, if you see the total load acting in this beam, 20 kilonewton meter is acting for 4 meter span. So 4 into 20, 80. 10 kilonewton per meter is acting for 5 meter span. 5 into 10 is 50. So 80 plus 50, 130 kilonewton. So that is why we are getting the sum of the reaction forces is equal and opposite to external load 130 kilonewton. So here the downward force is considered as positive. That is why we are getting reaction force as negative sign. We can use the reaction forces value for checking the answer what we evaluated through finite element method. Thank you for your passionate listening.